Hardcore mode. You know, like a million people have solo hardcore mode in all these stupid ways, but I haven't. So in this video, I'll attempt to solo hardcore, known as one of the hardest game modes in the game. But before we start, I have a couple of rules. The first one being, after solo of course, I'm not allowed to bring like an ult or anything mischievous like that. The second rule is I can't use any strategies. This rule right here, I was definitely gonna break at some point. After going to hardcore statue with this loadout, I picked crossroads for the map. For early game, I placed 2 level 2 engineers, then got 1 to level 3. Then I stayed up for accelerator that I was able to place on wave 18. I tried to get to level 4 before wave 25, but sadly I didn't have enough cash, so I ended up losing to the shadow bosses. I tried to do another round, but instead of accelerator I had Gatling gun, and instead of commander I had DJ. And what do you guess? On this round I didn't even make it to wave 25. Well, for the third game, I decided to get back Accelerator and bring Mercenary Base and Crimemancer. This round went basically the same as every other round. Basically me just having a massive skill issue and not getting past wave 25. You remember that rule I made like 30 seconds ago where I said I was not allowed to use any strats and at some point I was gonna break this rule? This rule right here, I was definitely gonna break at some point. Well, now is the time where I broke this rule by watching this guide. Well, in the guide I learned that I should be doing this on wrecked battlefield and not crossroads, and that my loadout is mid as hell. So with my new loadout, I went to a right battlefield and placed a crook boss to defend, leaking a little bit at the start, but the crook boss goons spawning just in time. Then for the leads, I got a level 2 crime match to deal with those, and for 8 waves this was my defense until I could get a level 3 crook boss. Then wave 25 came by. I had 2 level 3 crook bosses and 1 level 2. My crooks managed to kill 2 of the shadow bosses, and there's 1 left with 500 health. The crook's goons had to kill him or else I would have leaked him. With 132 health left, he was about to enter my base, but the last second a goon spawned and saved my run. And I was pretty much chilling for all of the rest of the waves until wave 36 came by. This wave spawned 1 out of the 4 mini bosses that would appear throughout this game, the Gravedigger. When he came, I was very unprepared. I had no rangers placed down for him, so without any rangers, after the Gravedigger went past the first loop where all my towers were, he basically had a win secured. I did try to place in rangers, but I spent all my money on towers at the front, so I didn't have any left for the rangers. And after some time, the Gravedigger ended up entering my base and I lost. A fast summary of how the next game went. I lost in wave 33. Then I tried it once again. I just had to get past wave 36 and then beat the Void Reaver. Sounds easy, right? It doesn't sound easy at all, but the game started as normal, placing a crook boss and leaking a single enemy, but then the goon spawning and killing it. It takes me about 10 minutes to get past wave 25 on average, so this was gonna get really repetitive soon. After a while, I got back to wave 36 once again. This time I had much more rangers, so I was probably gonna kill him. The Gravedigger is kinda RNG though, since he can either stun or spawn. If let's say he were to spawn every single time, I would have lost. But if he stunned, it didn't really matter since my rangers can't get stunned. Well, this is how the Gravedigger fight went. He ended up spawning at the start, which is not good, and then he spawned again, and then spawned a third time. Then he ended up stunning for the first time, but then right after that spawned again. He ended up stunning twice in a row and I was able to kill him. Then all of the rest of the waves were light work. Then I got to wave 44 where the second mini boss was, the Molten boss. With only 70,000 health, my defense was way too strong for him and he didn't even make it to the middle of my defense. Then next wave was wave 45, also known as a pretty hard wave. The enemies got kinda far but not far enough. And on wave 46, a super annoying enemy is introduced, the Necromancer boss. This guy is just annoying. I was able to kill the single Necromancer boss, but the next wave there's 2 of them. Not only are there 2 Necromancer bosses, but the 3rd mini boss also comes on this wave, the Fallen Swordmaster. I nearly died once, but I was able to kill both Necromancer bosses and then focus on a Fallen Swordmaster. He had 150,000 health and there were so much more enemies on the field, so definitely a big step up from the Molten boss. He was getting very close to my base, but he was losing health quicker. With 2,000 health left, he was pretty much right outside my base, but the ranger shot one last time and he died. Then, what's after wave 47? Subscribe button. If you're enjoying this video so far, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe. It only takes a second and it really supports the channel. Well, back to the video. On wave 48, the fallen boss appears. The last mini boss out of the 4. He has the same amount of health as the fallen swordmaster, and I would honestly say that this wave is easier due to the money you get from the fallen swordmaster and the amount of enemies on the field. Because of this, I killed the fallen king and then I got to wave 49. There's nothing really special here, but the next wave is what's special. The last wave where the void reaver with 1.2 million health comes. After getting to wave 50, I was met with a barrage of random enemies. After some time, 2 vindicators spawn. These enemies are also very annoying since they can stun abuse. Then the void reaver came with another 2 vindicators behind him. The void reaver himself is also kinda RNG. He has 2 abilities, Stomp and Summon, and the one we want him to use is Summon because most of the time the enemies he spawns are not that strong. First I need to kill all the enemies plus the Vindicators before I could even start damaging the Void Reaver. I was able to kill the first Vindicator, then kill the second one. There were 2 more and I was able to kill them both. By this point the Void Reaver got this far and I started attacking him. I used my Mercenary based airdrop ability to spawn riot guards to deal more damage, and I had dealt half his health at this point, which is not really good. Once the Void Reaver's health goes down to 240k, he goes rage mode, or I don't know what it's called, but and he speeds up a lot. When he's rage mode, him summoning is really important since not only does he not stun my towers, but when he summons, he stops for a slightly bit, which could decide if I win or not. Well, since this was my first time getting to the Void Reaver this video, he ended up leaking my base with 140k health left. I understood the strat now, so I tried again and I placed Crook Boss and played the game just like I did. Gravedigger, easy. Molten Boss, easy. Fallen Swordmaster, easy. Fallen King, easy of course. I was now back at wave 50 in 10 seconds for you, but 40 minutes for me. So I had another shot at this with the same loadout. The enemy's getting further this time somehow. I think they got sped up or something, but it didn't really matter since I killed them all either ways. This area right here, I'm just gonna call it the middle, even though it's clearly not the middle. Last game at this point, the Void Reaver had about 1.1 million health, but this time I dealt slightly more damage. I doubt this is gonna be the run, but I was still making progress. I was able to make him go rage mode over here, but then ended up losing with the Void Reaver having 70k health left. Well, now I had to play hardcore mode again for 40 minutes just to have another chance. Great. Then I tried it once again. I mean, do I have a choice? After placing Crook Boss, for some reason on wave 6, I thought of a different loadout to equip, so I left. I changed Mercenary base with Brawler, and the most important change I've made since the start of this video. I changed my Crime Monster skin. With this slightly modified loadout, I matched up for hardcore, placing on Crook Boss. But on wave 36 where the Gravedigger came, remember how I said it was kinda RNG? Well, this time I got the bad RNG I was talking about, and I ended up losing to him. The next time I tried it, I passed wave 36, but instead, this time I had trouble on a different wave. Wave 47, where the 2 Necromancer bosses that keep spawning enemies. Because the Necromancer just spams circuits and stuff, everything ended up getting sped up a lot and I died. The next attempt, I managed to kill both Necromancer bosses and just barely killed the Fallen Swordmaster. Well, now I was back in wave 50 and I killed all the Vindicators quicker. I started attacking the Void Reaver. In the middle, as I call it, he had slightly less than a million health. I got into his rage mode over here and he ended up leaking with him having 100k health left. I'm not sure what I did different, but I'm guessing because of the brawlers, I don't know. You can probably guess what I did after this. I tried again. I was about to kill the Gravedigger, but he ended up spawning and I lost. My next attempt was absolute cinema. Afterwards, I gave it another go and still did not make the wave 50 because I died on wave 47. Me dying on wave 47 seemed like it was gonna become a regular occurrence. After that I got to wave 47 and managed to kill both the Necromancer bosses, but then this happened. Then after that on wave 3 I left so I could change nothing in my loadout. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Well, then I did an actual attempt and I died to the Gravedigger because of RNG. We all love it, don't we? I gave it another shot but just ended up down to wave 47. Then I restarted once again and just ended up down to the Gravedigger. My recording just ended here for some reason, but this was my last game before I gave up for the day. The next day after joining TDS, I started by losing on wave 45, then I done a wave 47, and then 47 again, and still 47. But then I remembered something. I can use my revive tickets because at the point of recording this video, they're not disabled, so I used one to restart wave 47. Well, I still ended up losing, but I went back to the lobby to change Brawler with Mercenary base, hoping the 20% extra damage would help. I actually ended up down to the Gravedigger and restarted because I'm not using a revive ticket on that. After getting to wave 47, Mercenary base actually did change something and I ended up passing wave 47 and getting to wave 50. I mean, I don't really know what to say. I ended up losing with them having 160k health left, which is terrible. Then I went back to the lobby and equipped Brawler again. Then on wave 46, this circuit just came running past all the enemies, and because I was attacking the enemy in the front, he leaked and I lost. I ended up restarting and getting past wave 46 over to wave 47. The circuit sped up everything, so I ended up losing. I just wanted to get over with this, so I used a revive ticket but still ended up losing. You have no idea how much I hate these circuits. I ended up going back to the lobby again and slightly changed my loadout. I started by placing Mercenary base and tried to save up for Gatling gun for the balloons, but I leveled up my Mercenary base so I did not have enough money for Gatling gun and I ended up leaking the balloons. I restarted once again and this time I was able to get my Gatling gun placed down. Now I just had to get Grenadiers on my Mercenary base quickly to kill the leads incoming. And I was supposed to kill all the mysteries on wave 17 ASAP, but didn't do that, so I lost. Next try, I got my Gatling gun for balloons, killed all the mysteries, and upgraded my Mercenary base to get Grenadiers, but I just forgot to actually switch to Grenadiers and I lost. Next attempt, I killed all the mysteries and switched to Grenadier. I actually managed to kill all the shadow bosses on wave 25, but then I ended up dying to the lead bosses that are also on wave 25. Then my next attempt, I ended up dying from enemies on wave 18. After going back to the lobby, I made one of the stupidest mistakes by switching back to my old loadout. I'm gonna be honest, this was not the loadout I won with. Like the rest 4 hours of this recording's footage, I have this loadout. And I don't really want to make 4 hours of footage into 1 minute of me speaking about me just dying the whole time. After some time, I equip my good loadout and start the game. Playing early game like normal but losing on wave 18 because I was not able to get Grenadiers. This time on my second try I passed wave 18 and make my way over to wave 25. I was able to kill all the shadow bosses and the Grenadiers dealing with the lead bosses. On wave 27 the fallen rushers appear and they're kind of quick, so I wasn't hitting all my bullets. And because of that I ended up leaking them and losing. I used a revive ticket to get back in the same wave, and I was able to pass it this time. But then right after that on the next wave I died again to the fallen rushers, but I used a revive ticket and I passed the wave. The next wave on wave 29 I ended up losing once again, and I once again used a revive ticket and passed the wave. Then I finally didn't lose right after that, but I still ended up losing on wave 33 and I used a revive ticket and passed the wave. I ended up getting to the Gravedigger where RNG was not a problem anymore since I shredded him either ways. Well, on wave 45 I could have survived, but because I didn't look back I leaked the soul and lost. And you can probably guess what I did. I revived. Then this time I was able to pass the wave and get to wave 47 where I always die. It didn't go so great because I ended up leaking and losing. Then I used a revive ticket and I was able to pass wave 47. Then I got to wave 50 and this is my first attempt with this new loadout, so it didn't really go any better and he ended up leaking with 160k health left. After reviving, I didn't really know what I did wrong, so I kinda just hoped it would go better. And better it did not go at all. I didn't even die by the void reaver. And this is my last game for this recording. After joining TDS, Roblox started tweaking or whatever happened here. But besides that, for some reason, once again, I decided to quit back my old loadout and those matches got me nowhere, so I'm just gonna cut it all out. Well, after equipping the loadout, I realized I actually equipped turret instead of Gatling gun because they kinda look alike, you know? I started off as usual, but I ended up losing on wave 18. But on my second try, I didn't die on wave 18 this time. Then I passed wave 25, but then died the wave later in wave 26. But I revived. Then I was able to pass wave 27 and 28 without dying. Then everything was going well until I made it to wave 32, where I died to a shadow boss. Then after reviving and getting to wave 46, but because my Gatling gun was reloading, I could not shoot these circuits, so I lost. Then I revived and got to wave 47, and passing it without dying. Then making over to wave 50, where the Void Reaver ended up leaking with 80k health left. After reviving and placing back all my towers, I killed all the enemies and started attacking the Void Reaver. At the small curve, he had 900,000 health this time, and he ended up leaking with 40k health left. Then after reviving and starting to attack the Void Reaver at the little curve, he had 950k health left this time. So I'm just gonna say it, he ended up leaking with 80k health left. Then after reviving for like the 10th time I think, this time at the little curve he had 850,000 health left this time, so this right here could have been the run. But somehow I still did worse and he ended up leaking with 70k health left. I watched a video with this exact strat and he placed a commander here to bait out the Vindicators. But did that, and at the curve the Void Reaver had 780,000 health this time. He actually ended up summoning when like super rage mode or whatever it's called, but I still ended up leaking with him having 30k health left. A problem I was doing is instead of trying to gather up a lot of riflemen, I just used riot guards because I thought it was better. Well, I don't exactly know when, but I started gathering the riflemen, so at the curve the Void Reaver had 800,000 health, and he ended up leaking with 47k health left this time. Then, next attempt, I tried to perfect everything. I made a small army of riflemen over here and started attacking the Void Reaver. Used my brawl ability so they always attack the Void Reaver, and used my mercenary base to make the army stronger every second. I also had to use Call of Arms when I could and spawn in the APCs, but looking back at the footage, it didn't really look like I was doing those things. So at the curve, the Void Reaver had 820,000 health left this time. With that much health, winning seemed like it wasn't gonna happen, but then I died with him having 30k health left this time. Then after reviving and placing all my towers, then 3 seconds before the game started, I used my commander early and switched to my Gatling gun. All mercenary bases had 2 riflemen and 1 medic, unless one which had all 3 riflemen. I had brawlers at the front and a commander over here to bait the Vindicators. I used the APC ability and mercenary airdrop ability. Before the Vindicators came, I was also able to get a pretty massive army dealing a lot of DPS. Plus, at this time of recording, Gatling gun was not nerfed yet and dealing multiple thousands of DPS because they pierce. The Void Reaver ended up stunning, so all the riflemen without a shield ended up dying. At the curve, this time he has 760k health left this time, which was my best so far. So this is gonna be the run? Well, you're just gonna have to see. He ended up going rage mode and summoning. Then I used a narrative sticker on accident and he went like super duper rage mode over here. And I used a brawler reposition ability for them to be attacking the Void Reaver. The APC spawned but he stomped, destroying them. I attacked him and used every single ability as soon as I could and he was getting pretty low. Repositioned my brawlers again and he was getting really low. He had 15k health left right outside my base, so it was now or never. He went basically inside my base, and a second before he leaked, he got shot once more by the Rangers and he ended up dying. And I had won. And yeah, that's it. I stole hardcore mode with revive tickets carrying 90% of this whole video. So a shout out to the revive tickets and thanks for watching.